You guys know me and how much I love obscure trivia. Not just when it comes to lost stuff no one's ever heard about, but weird things too, like rare dialogue in Animal Crossing or merchandise most people have forgotten about. And sometimes there exists trivia so interesting, it deserves its own video, especially when it comes to Pikmin. Now, I've always felt like Pikmin was a really weird case when it came to trivia or even its beta elements. By far, there's not as much depth to discuss compared to Mario Sunshine or Luigi's Mansion, and Pikmin as a whole often gets overlooked compared to other Nintendo games. However, when I redeemed my childhood failures and beat Pikmin 2 for the first time a few years ago, it became one of my favorite games, and I found myself wanting to learn more about the world. I've looked into content like this before and am familiar with things like the beta-colored Bulborbs and the unused object known as Iwagen, but little did I know that one of my favorite pieces of Pikmin trivia wasn't scrapped or only in the game's code. This secret is actually hiding in the game itself, and I had just never found it. Most people haven't found it for that matter, so today I want to tell you all about it. Let's say you find yourself in the final area of the game, Wistful Wild, and are short on nectar or spray drops. Where do you go to get more? Well, if you happen to be there at the right time, then you could always give the Ujadani a visit. Ujadani appear as little orange bugs that scurry around in swarms of 70 units. Their body has a length of only 5 millimeters, consisting of a bulbous back and scuttling feet underneath. Each one can be attacked individually by Pikmin to obtain large amounts of nectar and spray drops, making them the best source of these supplies in the game. However, as a method of self-defense, Ujadani are able to emit poison gas which can kill non-white Pikmin, as is typically seen in the game. Despite this ability, it seems as though they rarely attack at all, and can be defeated without having any white Pikmin. In fact, if one was to hold a single Pikmin in the middle of the swarm, the Ujadani begin jumping at Olimar, however, are unable to interact with him or the Pikmin. This is a really cool secret to discover, and until I read about these creatures' existence online, there was certainly no way to know these guys were in the game at all, which explains why they elude so many players. The only area of the game Ujadani inhabit are Wistful Wild, and only in two specific places, near the entrance to Hole of Heroes and near the gate to Dream Den, though are not always accessible to the player. The Ujadani actually begin appearing on day 1 of the game and continue to regenerate every 30 days. This means players can observe the creatures on day 31, 61, 91, and so on, but are never able to access them on day 1 without hacking, since Wistful Wild is impossible to reach at the beginning of the game. Despite this scarcity, entering and exiting a cave allows them to continuously respawn for that day, meaning you are able to farm dozens of their nectar and sprays. Prior to these discoveries, there was also a claim that stated Ujadani would stop appearing after day 301, but this has since been debunked and they continue to appear. It's believed this stemmed from an old rumor that save files would be deleted after day 300, but this is not the case. On the contrary, if you complete the game before even reaching day 31, you'll also miss them completely, as was the case with my playthrough. In my opinion, the most interesting aspect of the Ujadani aren't the creatures themselves, but rather their treatment in the game. To the surprise of many, Ujadani do not appear in the Piklopedia at all. The game files of Pikmin 2 state that Ujadani are considered obstacles and not enemies at all, which groups them in the same category as rubble and nectarweed. So if Ujadani aren't documented in the game, where does their name come from? Interestingly, it's taken from their Japanese e-reader card, which was released as part of the Pikmin 2 set only in Japan. Translated, their name means swarm mite or tick. Similarly, their internal name is Ujamushi and closely resembles the name on the e-reader card. However, their official English name has never been revealed. I've looked through strategy guides and other print material that was released for the game, but was unable to find any mention of their existence. This makes it fun to speculate about what these creatures are supposed to be, or how they fit into the Pikmin world. Unfortunately, my imagination is hampered by the fact that they're treated as obstacles, which implies Nintendo wanted them to be unrelated disposable enemies. However, a couple fun theories exist online, with the most plausible one stating that Ujadani are honey wisp larvae. This is supported by the fact that the honey wisps are known to feed their larvae nectar and sprays, which is exactly what comes out of the Ujadani when they're defeated. Something else I found from a Pikmin forum claims that the flying insects in Pikmin 1 are located in the same spot where the Ujadani appear in Pikmin 2, leading to the theory that the flying insects either became the Ujadani or were food for the Ujadani to live on. I consider this theory a little less likely, however, if we assume Ujadani consume nectar from the honey wisps, and consider the fact that Ujadani have no ability to fly, unless they somehow lost that ability once their food source became the ground nectar, and flying wasn't necessary. It's these little pieces of trivia that really make looking into a game worthwhile, and I'm glad there's always something new to discover, no matter how large or small it might be. Hey guys, I hope you enjoyed the video. Be sure to check out some of my other game-related Lost Media videos. Thanks for watching, and until next time, Finn.